somebody who moved here from another region. And I have been a transit user for about 6 years, 4 of those years in Portland and Seattle, and 2 back here in Milwaukee. The unfortunate thing that I did was I used my experiences of transit in the Northwest to determine how I was going to approach transit here in Milwaukee. And I thought a bus system was a bus system. But I learned differently pretty quickly. One of the things that I learned in coming here, and one of the first things I did in making that decision to move back to Milwaukee was get on the website for the Milwaukee County Transit System and find out the most strategic place to move and locate so that I could get around town and use transit. So I realized that downtown Milwaukee made sense after looking at the map, and I could pretty much go to any outskirt of town and get there probably within about 30 to 45 minutes. So it was, when I moved here and I, sold my vehicle in Washington, it was kind of a wake-up call. The service was nowhere near the quality I was used to. As a professional, I would make appointments to talk with people on the other side of town, and I'd walk out and the bus is 5 minutes early, 6 minutes early. Or I'd be standing not even 6 feet away from the curb and the bus would just go by because I wasn't right by the sign. So there are a lot of service issues that I found in coming in and using the bus system. Now before you say, wow, you're such a downer about the bus system, I think it's important to, before you can fix anything, you really have to identify the issues. And right now, the system is broken, and I think that's been intentional through poor funding. You break something by not funding it, and that's really the situation with our Milwaukee County bus system. And it's kind of unfortunate, because it has such great potential, but they're cutting it short. Just in the short time I've been here, they've cut routes. Several people I know that use the bus system to get to and from work have to find new jobs because they can no longer get to their job because they're working second shift. So the schedule's been cut from 11:30 or 12:30 at night down to 10 or 10:30, so they can no longer get from the outskirts of town back into town. So there's a lot of unfortunate situations that are happening with the transit system. And personally, I'm at the point now, after 2 years of really trying to give it a good go of maybe, reverting back to getting a vehicle. And it's been a personal choice of mine to eliminate, because about 6 years ago, I decided to become more of a minimalist. I live my life very simply, and I've removed a ton of stress by not having to worry about getting on the highway and driving with crazy people and doing all kinds of other strange things. But also, things in your life create stress. So for me, it was about really simplifying everything. I have one bowl, one dish, one set of silverware, and that's the way I live. I don't, I wash it when I'm done with it, and it makes life so easier, or so much easier than the way I used to live life. And one of those things in making that transition was really becoming a transit user. And when I was in Seattle, it just made sense. I was a block away from the bus, and within 20 minutes to 25 minutes, I was in downtown Seattle, 2 blocks away from my office. It was easy, easy to get to, easy to get back from. And not only that, they had an express system that the express bus would go downtown, but it would also go to the outskirts of town. Here in Milwaukee, one thing I realized was that they have no express system going back out of town in the morning or coming in at night. So there are people who work on the outside of the city, and they can't get to those jobs using the express system. So you're talking about the 18 or the number 10 or the 15 that go to the excesses or the outskirts of town, and it takes close to 45 minutes to an hour to get to those places on a bus. And that's just a shame, especially when you could have a transit or an express bus in the morning that gets from one place to the other in less than a half hour or less than 20 minutes. So really, when I look at it and I see the things that are happening, I see the underfunding of what could be a really great transit system. So I am here to support the RTA aspect of this. I think it's important that we get it passed, not only just for the Milwaukee County bus system, but also for the rail. Having lived in, again, Seattle and Portland, I could go between those cities pretty easily discount bus pass. So instead of costing me $60, it cost me $52. So it just came out of my check, and I had a bus pass. So during the week I would use it. Then I found myself in the weekends, oh, I need to go shopping, you know. So I just take the bus instead. It was only 5 blocks away, and it just became a habit. So the point was that my truck sat there for pretty much every weekend, unless I went up to the mountains or out to the ocean. Then I drove, mainly because I wanted to throw my bike in the back. But otherwise, there were transit options for that as well. So I think, you know, Milwaukee has a lot of potential to be a great city, and I think transit is part of that. And I would hope that each of you take a look at some of the information that's out there. CAT has a bunch of information on their website, but mainly call your legislator, especially if you live in Wauwatosa or West Dallas. Call your friends and ask them, you know, not just could you please, but we really need you to do this. Reach out to them and ask them to make, you know,